crap. Hi everyone. Let me know how it is this time. I checked the speed and it seems to be okay. Well, but I'm not sure. How is it, Sky? Let's see. I think I need to get my phone so I can see if I'm lagging. Hello again. Hi Shua, hi Mylao, hi C, and then hi Shua and Chua and Sky again. Okay, I'm trying to get this to work. Let me know if it's working for you guys right now. Hi May. Okay. Oh, okay, perfect. All right. So, since this is the beginning, and for anybody who's watching after the live stream, first we're going to wait a few more minutes, give it like 5 minutes for people to jump on, and then we'll start editing. And then first, I'm gonna go through, let's see, the questions that you guys had asked, and if I don't see anybody asking any more questions in the chat, since sometimes it's quiet, then I'll just kind of go through all the questions as I edit, pretty much. I'm not going to edit all the photos, but just a couple. I'm just going to see which one I like. But, oh, hold on. And then let's see. I'll try to keep the editing simple so that for those of you who don't have the Photoshop presets, you can still follow along. Because I know sometimes you do have to pay like $100 for some of the presets. So we'll just keep it simple today. Yes, but I'll pretty much just go through the whole image. But these are pretty much simple images. They're nothing too crazy like the fantasy stuff. So the editing will basically just mainly be skin retouching and just a few things here and there. But hopefully it helps some beginners, because I know sometimes the more advanced stuff is difficult for people. I'm so surprised there's so many people watching. I'm kind of nervous. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and start. I am going to check the questions and pretty much just go through the questions. But if you guys have questions, how many times did I say questions? If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to ask them. If I don't see anybody in the chat, then I'm just going to go through the questions that everybody asked on the post I made. Alrighty, so I'll go through all the comments. Stacy, what is your go-to preset? I kind of just jump around. It just depends. If I'm using Flash, I don't usually use presets because I find that presets, it's really hard to use on Flash images, but natural light images are usually better for them. But I've been using Small a lot. I just bought it, but it's pretty okay. They have a lot of different options on here for you to kind of go through to see what you like. I actually like this one, but I don't want to use these today because some of you might not have them. No, Sky, I love Photoshop. Photoshop is everything. If any, I would choose Photoshop over Lightroom because I'm a little bit more picky on like really small stuff. You'll kind of see whenever I start editing. Thanks. I actually learned that one from Cam, but yeah, hopefully you guys learned some other things too. I try my best to try to make them educational. Okay. All right. So we'll start, and then see, Vang, have you considered having classes like provide photo album people can choose from, and as you're growing growing through, we can try to edit alongside you. Do you mean like am I like teaching classes? If that's the case, I'm not teaching classes right now. I feel like I'm not good enough to be teaching classes yet, but maybe in the future. Hi Yi. Hi Nancy. Yes, definitely. I love working with new people. Oh, thank you so much, Yi. Um, My Lao, do you suggest buying presets? It depends. So presets, it just depends on your shooting style because some presets are made for backlit photos or natural light photo, or some are even for cloudy days. So it's not like a one click fix all. So I'll see this one. So for this one, it's not working on this image and it's making her skin look super orange, and I don't like how bright the green is. I think it's just a little too much color. It's like color vomit. um Pang, have you considered hiring someone to edit your photos? I have, but it just doesn't work out. And I prefer to do it myself because I feel like my clients, they booked me and they want me to edit the photos. So I feel kind of bad if I were to let somebody edit the photos. How can you make your photos sharp? Cindy Vu. Okay, so sometimes I do misfocus. You see this image, it's not that sharp. It's a little on the soft side, but usually I'm okay with it. It's not too bad to the point where I can't see the eyelashes. So as long as I could kind of see the eyelashes like around here, like over here, if like this front eye looked like this side, I would probably not choose this image. Oh my gosh, there's so many people. I'm so nervous. But thank you guys for joining, everybody. Okay. How long have you been in business? I've been in business for a long time, but I would say I've done it professionally the last 6 years, but I've been shooting ever since I was 14, 15, maybe even younger. I don't remember. I do have a gear list, so if you guys ever are curious what cameras I use, you can go to my website and click on the FAQ, and I just put all my gear lists on there since it's easier, and I get that question all the time. Stacy, do you offer mentor sessions? Not yet. I don't think I'm good enough yet, but I'm working on it. I want to uh, well, I want to be able to teach you guys if I were to do like one-on-ones and have you guys understand it fully, because if I find that I struggle trying to like explain things sometimes because I just do it, and it's hard for me to just kind of tell people. So I'm working on it. Hi Molly. Where do you buy your presents? I think you meant presets. I have Soulmate right here. Noble is okay. At Fuji, I haven't been using Dirty Boots. I haven't been using Central Park is the one I made. LXC is actually pretty good. I used to really like LXC, but I haven't been using it as often now. But yeah, it kind of makes the image look darker and more moody. Trying to go through. There's a lot of questions. Right now I'm using an iMac. I think this is like a 2016 version. It's kind of old. No, I don't sell Mong hats, Pang. Not yet. Okay, well, I'm gonna try and edit so you guys aren't just looking at nothing. But I'll just kind of like adjust these. I'm not going to explain too much of what I'm doing on the editing side because this is more of a Q&A, but you guys can just kind of watch. Okay, I'm trying to go through questions, but there's so many questions on the chat too. Oh, thank you, Shannon. I don't think I'm that good, honestly, but I think it's a good and bad thing to be kind of a perfectionist, in my opinion, because that means you never stop learning, and like, I feel like if you're satisfied with every photo you take, then um I don't know, what is that too egotistical? I don't know. But yeah, I try to learn different skills. Like right now, I just kind of pick up random hobbies here and there. So some of you maybe remember I started doing doll painting for a while, so I would kind of like paint on the dolls and stuff. Well, I paint like their whole face. It's like a face up. It's kind of trendy on YouTube right now, but I haven't really checked in a while. So the only photos that I used Flash were these ones right here. I think I kind of misfocused, darn it. But I'll fix that a little later. But yeah, I think the only photos were the ones with Christy right here, these four of her in the stripe outfit. The rest is just natural light. I've been shooting more natural light nowadays because let's see, carrying around all the equipment is just kind of a hassle sometimes, and I prefer the natural feel nowadays because it feels more like in the moment rather than flash, because it looks too like fashion sometimes. I buy my dresses on Taobao, so it's like a Chinese website, and you have to use a translator. So it's really complicated. You have to use a translator, and you also have to kind of pay fees and everything. And the site is kind of like Amazon, but it's huge. There's just so many things on there, and you can spend hours just searching the website, and you'll never like go through everything. It's that big. Um, my favorite portrait or focal length for portraits nowadays has been the 50 millimeter, because I find that I can get in real close and still get that nice bokeh in the background. I wouldn't say Apple computers are better. It just depends, because I think mine's kind of slow and laggy right now, but I just had to reset it. Um, just because it was so slow to the point where let's see, I couldn't even draw hairs without it lagging, and it's just really difficult. But it's been a lot better now. From, um, you know, Stacy, I actually don't have a favorite photo. I know I'm really picky, and I don't know. I can just point out everything that's wrong in my images, even though some of you guys might think it looks okay, but to me, I notice everything. Like if the image is not as sharp as I want, or the background, or if I should have moved a certain angle. So the softwares I'm using are listed below. So I'm using Lightroom Classic right now, and later I'll be using Adobe Photoshop. So Jean Vang. So the the best thing to do to get better photos is get off auto mode. Every photographer will tell you that, because you have more control. Because when you're on auto and you want that blurred background, sometimes like the light meter or the sensor will kind of read the background as too bright, and then it'll kind of like, instead of keeping the aperture at like 1.2 like wide open, it's gonna jump to like 4 just to kind of balance out the light. Hi, Joaquin. I wouldn't say the photos look perfect. There's a lot of things that's wrong with them, but I try my best to fix the small things here and there. I'm trying to edit, but there's just so many questions I'm trying my best to answer, because this is more of a Q&A. I've made editing mistakes before, and sometimes I overprocess the skin. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not perfect. All right, so I'm gonna start getting to some of the comment questions. What made you realize you wanted to become a photographer slash videographer? And this is from Lily Xiong. Um, so I've always liked art, and that's how I kind of got started in photography. Is because I was doing makeup on myself, and I wanted nice photos. Because you know, America's Next Top Model was trending at the time, back then, whenever I was really young. And you kind of watch all those photo shoot, and it looks like so fun, and you just want to be a part of that, or you just want to have that cool image. And so I started doing like my own makeup just for fun. I'm actually really bad. You guys could probably still search some of my YouTube videos because it's so bad. I lost access to the account, so I can't delete those videos. So I'm kind of mad because that was, I forgot what they called it, but that was when YouTube was requiring everybody to have a Google account. And so when I signed up on YouTube, it was through my Hotmail. So I just don't have access to the account. So you guys can see my cringy makeup video. I'm trying not to swear. But well, oh, okay, so back to the question again. So that's how I got started in photography. So for videography, I realized that one of my downfall, or like one of the things that I'm not very good at is I'm not very good at storytelling in images, and so I wanted to learn a little bit more. And so videography really helps you just kind of learn to storytell because it's a moving image, and if it's just like a still image, it's kind of boring sometimes. Oh my gosh, Stacy, is so embarrassing. Don't ever talk about my YouTube makeup videos with me because I get so embarrassed talking about it. Okay. And then tell us about your worst client experience. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think. For the most part, my clients are always really nice. I would just say it's probably me sometimes, um, because I get a little busy sometimes. I'm a little behind, but I've been cutting out photo shoots, so I'm trying to just focus more on personal projects nowadays. I know. I remember you too. That's when we met. It's crazy. I still remember a lot of you guys. Thor and in Pazong, how do you fix harsh lighting if the sun was too bright on the face? It just depends. If it's too bright to where you can't recover the highlights, then I just won't use the image. But if I can fix like a sunspot here and there, then I will, because I think that's really important, and it just makes the image look a lot cleaner. I can't talk today. The programs is Lightroom and Photoshop. It's listed, so if you guys want to check, you guys can do that. And if you guys want, Photoshop is only like $10 a month for like a subscription. So think of it like Netflix. So I think this image is okay. I'm gonna take it to Photoshop in a bit. Or actually, I like that one better. I don't know, which one do you guys want to see? Like there's numbers at the bottom, so like 12, 13, 14, 15. If you guys have a suggestion on which image you want me to edit, you can go ahead and let me know. My Zong asked, looks like you're using Sony mirrorless for videos. Do you prefer your Canon photos versus your Sony? So I'm not used to the Sony's color profile yet. So different cameras, they read the colors differently. I'm not used to the Sony one yet. So I've only been using it for videos, but I still shoot on my Canon. And then Xian what's your favorite session? Um, I'm trying to think, but because it's taking me so long to think, I think that I probably don't have a favorite session because I'm so critical of myself. It's always like, you can do better next time, or you could have done better at this shoot. I notice like pretty much everything that's wrong with the image sometimes, even though people don't notice it. And Sky, I just saw your message. You're gonna, you're going home. I'll be on for maybe like an hour or so, and then you guys can always go back and watch the video if you need to look at anything. Vang, do I offer critiques on other photographers' photos? It just depends. Like if people are asking for CC, I'll give it to them. Or like if they, uh, well, yeah, pretty much if they ask for CC, I'll give it to them. But I find that it's kind of discouraging to some photographers. Sometimes when you give them CC unsolicited, they'll kind of get mad. So I just don't do it anymore. I've always liked art, and to me, photography was just like a different form of art. So if you guys notice, I like to try a lot of different things. Um, I've gotten into. I started doing modeling for a little bit, but then I realized I'm not that good looking and I'm not that good at modeling because I'm really self conscious. um, and then, yeah, I started photographing myself first, and then I started photographing other people, and then the requests just keep coming in, and I just got really busy. I can do a photo critique later on, um, if you guys would like. So I'll just probably have you guys submit photos if you want. Hi, Miter. Okay, so hopefully I cleaned my desktop for you guys. I had so many screenshots all over my desktop, but it's better now. Okay, so. Oh my goodness, Christy, no. Okay, I'm gonna go through some of the questions on the comments too, on the post that I made. So Thor and Pa Zong, how do you? Okay, I already did that one. See, I'm just gonna like all the ones that I answered, so I know. Sorry, there's my boyfriend's nieces and nephew are visiting, so they're kind of running around. So I hope that doesn't bother you guys. Okay, so Miss Puff Sky asked a question: what made you want to do photography, and how did you start as a beginner? So I started using. I wouldn't consider the cell phone, but okay. I don't know if you guys remember, some of you that followed me for a very long time, you remember those pink anime looking photos that I did a while back. It was like self portraits. I shot those with my camcorder, and that's pretty much how I started. I just started shooting on the camcorder, and eventually I was able to get my first camera when I got my first job. Technique. So, what techniques do you use for smoothing skin, but still keeping it natural? By Nikki. So I just use Photoshop, and oh my gosh, I just use Photoshop, and sometimes I use portraiture, but you have to purchase portraiture. I think it's around like a hundred to $200. But I don't use it as often, or when I do, I just kind of do the skin area. Like I mask out everything except for the skin areas. So, CNA, what are your favorite photographers that inspire you? So, I'm actually a huge fan of Kirsty Mitchell, but I think she's kind of on hiatus right now because she had her baby, and I think she's just picking back up on photography again, which I'm really excited. So she's from the UK, and when she came to the US, I was actually at one of her meet and greets because she went to the museum to do the meet and greet, and then my boyfriend had also. I can't talk. Let me get some water. And my boyfriend had also purchased like a luncheon ticket. So basically, you go have lunch and then kind of just meet the artist there. And so I drove 14 hours, 14 hours to Wisconsin for that. And yeah, it was great. I got to sit right next to her. It was like probably one of the best things. But yeah, it was really nice. And I really enjoy just being surrounded by people who are very passionate about art. And I do believe in the saying that, you know, just surround yourself with the people that you want to be like. And to me, she really inspired me, and I have nothing but love for her. There's a couple other photographers I follow, but not as much nowadays because I generally do just like looking at new photographers and seeing where they go. I follow a lot of people on Hmong photographers. Like you'll see me kind of like stuff here and there if you guys are in that group. But yeah, I like seeing new people who are passionate. But you know, it's unfortunate because a lot of people that start out, I see them quit like a few years or a year or two down the line. And yeah, I there's a couple of Hmong photographers that I really like too, but they don't really do photography anymore. Christy, I never delete my raws. I keep everything. I'm like a picture hoarder. I keep thinking that somewhere down the line, I'm probably gonna go back and edit these photos, but you know, I have like millions and millions of photos, probably too many hard drives. I'm on probably like 10th or 15 hard drive. You did? You met me at the Kirsty Mitchell thing? I don't remember. You should have said hi. I was like so nervous. I just kind of like drove up there by myself, so I was like really shy. Paying her asked, "Do you do boudoir photo shoots?" Yes, I do. I actually enjoy doing boudoir a lot, but I don't post my client boudoir photos because you know privacy. Um, yeah, because a lot of these people that I work with, they do have like professional careers, so I don't post them unless they're model boudoir photos. Jonathan Hugh, any color grading tips? I'm assuming you're asking for video. I am still learning that, so I have no input. Okay, Sandy, are you taking apprentices or mentorship? And what are your favorite shoots and advice for someone starting? I think I've answered that, but I don't offer mentorships at the moment, and I don't really have a favorite shoot of mine, to be honest. And tips for someone starting out is just be open to trying new things. Like for me, I tried every single type of photography there is. I was a sports photographer for a few years. I actually shot with my friend, and we shot like baton photos, and then they kind of had like um, they would do like pageants too. I forgot what they called them, but yeah, I shot a lot of those. But I don't shoot them anymore just because it's really rough because you have to be in the gymnasium the whole time. And I realized that I think my vision kind of got worse from doing sports photography because I was in the gymnasium and we'll work like 16-hour shifts sometimes, just taking photos the whole time. And you're using like a huge lens. So yeah, that took a toll. And like you're switching from light to dark because you kind of have to look through the camera hole. I don't know what's called, but so that you can see to take photos. And if you keep doing that, it's just bad for your eyes switching back and forth. And yeah, I remember one point when I was shooting the photos. It got so bad, like my vision got so bad to the point where I couldn't see anybody that was like more than 3 feet away from me. So I kind of stopped doing that because it wasn't good for me. Plus, one time I was out in the sun and we were just shooting like a mud run. I think I was gonna faint. It was so hot. And like the sun was just beaming on you the whole time. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the questions that people are asking again. Chrissy asks, are you always using hard drives only for storage then? My laptop is always suffocating for space. Yes, Christy, I have hard drives. So right now there's 3 hard drives connected to my computer. I have a raw backup which I save everything on, or all my raws on, and only the raws. And I have the 2 hard drives, one from September and one from January, that I'm currently still using, but they're almost filled up right now. So yeah, I probably need to get another hard drive soon. Tina Lee, what are you doing right now? Oh, I'm editing right now. And then CNA, I have a Canon 62. At one point, it froze on me. What SD card do you recommend? I don't really know. I just kind of used SanDisk, and they worked okay for me. I've only had one card go corrupt on me. It was kind of at a wedding. It was awful. So, but luckily it was like a 4 GB card. I don't know why I had a 4 GB card at the time, because like, who's gonna, like, when you do weddings, you need like 128 gig. Stacy, have you felt down about photography? Wait, have you ever feel down about photography because there's times that I feel like I'm just not growing? Yes, all the time. I I'm really hard on myself. I think I'm harder than a lot of people are, or even people that are criticizing me when it comes to my own work. And so sometimes when I look at my own photos and I don't like them, I just kind of get sick. Like, I get this weird feeling. It's like I'm sick to my stomach. Like, how could I take that awful photo? Oh my god, there's 100 of you guys. Okay. Removing blemishes. New Marion. What advice would you give to those who are interested in turning photography into a full-time job? I would say niche down. So basically, know your market. For me, I kind of always liked working with Hmong people. It's not that I don't like working with other race, but it's just I'm more known in the Hmong community, and so it's easier for me to book jobs. And so that's how I kind of grew my business, and I'm able to travel from like east to west coast and midwest and all that stuff. So it was really good for me, because most of my clients are actually in Minnesota, even though I visit only like once or twice a year. So I do love Minnesota. Everybody there is always so kind. Trying to read questions. Prasi. I'll think about the workshops, but I think if I do anything like that, it'll probably just be like a collaboration where maybe you guys pay like $50 and you come join me. You can ask me any questions, and then basically we'll try to have models all styled out so you guys can shoot and have something for your portfolio too. But I don't think I'm that good at teaching yet, so I wouldn't offer it yet to anybody, because I would feel bad if I'm not even confident in my own skills. And Christy, yes, buy hard drives, lots of them. What is your favorite lens? That's the 50 mil. Archive or Melissa, did you take editing workshops or learn it on your own over time? I learned on my own over time. So back then, I don't remember who gave us Photoshop 7.0, but I was using that up until 2015. Like, I know there were new versions, but yeah, I was just using that. But now I do have a subscription, and it is legal, okay? But I think that's how a lot of people started with Photoshop, is they pirated it, you know? But, you know, that was when I was really young, so don't judge me too much. Jonathan Hugh, is photography your full-time job? Yes, it is. But I'm trying to slowly transition out, because I want to do more content creating. Because I want to help other artists, not just like photographers, but I'm sure some of you guys seen like some of my brothers and sisters' artworks. They're really good, and I want to encourage them to kind of pursue that, because I can see that they have passion, and I think that's just something I always look for in people, if they are really passionate about something and I see it in them, then I'll try my best to help them. Because, like, you know, me as a struggling artist, I know how hard it is and how discouraging it is. Let me get a drink. Thank you. I don't know how to say your name, but Plua, or I don't know, AULP. Okay. How do you edit skin tones? Any tips, color grading? Um, you know, I just kind of look and see if, like, I just don't like when the skin looks too orange. That's all I know. Or like when it looks too gray. So those are just like the two things I keep in mind. If their skin's looking a little too gray, then I'll add some reds to it. If it's looking too orange, then I'll tone down the saturation on the like reds or the oranges. Thanks, May. Chia, what camera do you use and what lens do you use to shoot that photo? So this photo, I think I was using a 50 mil. So most of my photos um, is a 50 mil on the Canon Mark IV. So I think over time, if you start shooting a lot, you can always tell like which lenses people are using. Like I know when somebody's using a wide angle lens versus a telephoto lens. And like to me the distortion's just like I can tell when looking at an image how the distortion is, what lens they're using. What are some places you recommend learning how to edit skin and color grade? I would just say go on YouTube. YouTube has so many things and there's so many creators that's vying for your attention. So I would just like support people on YouTube because they make great tutorials. There's this one Indian guy, I don't remember his name, but he has like I think Pixie something. It starts with a P. But yeah, his Photoshops are great. Photoshop tutorials are great, and I actually like him the most when it comes to tutorials because I find that he explains things in a very easy way. My Zong, can you talk through your actions that you provide? I'm not sure what you mean. If you're asking for like what I'm doing, like the steps that I'm doing in Photoshop, then I'll probably have to do that in a different video because I'm trying to keep this to just like a Q&A because if I'm explaining like all the steps, then I won't have time for Q&As. But I'll do another live stream probably next week or two, and then I'll answer questions and then basically just go through the process and tell you how I edit too, if that works. Yes, Bird, that's the person. Pixin Perfect, yes. Stacy, are you using a mouse right now? Actually, I'm using a Wacom tablet, and I prefer to use a Wacom tablet. It just makes like editing easier because you don't have to. It's easier to go from up here to down here, like where my mouse is, like to kind of go back and forth, than it is to use a mouse. Because if I'm using a mouse, so right now I'm using a mouse, I would have to kind of go here, circle, and sometimes it's hard for me to circle things on the mouse. Cha Christy, have you calibrated your monitor? Yes, I use the Spider 5 calibrator, I believe, but there's a bunch of calibrators on Amazon. I usually just find the one that has the best reviews. Sineng, do you have a skin retouch preset for us to try? So it's the frequency separation one. You can use that one, but right now I'm doing everything manually. So I like to just kind of clean up the skin first, and then I'll go into frequency separation. I like to just take off the details layer or the high frequency level so I can tell how the skin tone's looking. So you see sometimes it's a little blotchy in areas, but I'm trying to smooth it out without overdoing it. So I'll usually over process it first and then go back and go back and tone it down so it doesn't look too crazy. So I don't know if you guys are seeing what I'm doing, because I think Facebook is going to save this live as like 720 or 780p instead of like 1080 or 4K. So Lightroom I strictly use for coloring, or like, you know, color grading, I guess, or just to fix any colors. And then Photoshop is where I do like all the small little details. And I do prefer, I mean, like if I were to choose between the two, I would just do Photoshop, but Lightroom's easier to catalog all the photos, so that's why I use both. And it's easier to just kind of like sort through everything. So let me see if you guys can tell. So I'll kind of just show you. I don't know if you can tell, but you can see it more on the neck, like the skin's uneven, but now it's a little bit more even. But I try not to keep it at 100. I always just tone it down a little bit, and then just check, like zoom out too to check. Okay, so let's see. The tablet is a Wacom tablet. I'll type it. This one's old, but I would just suggest you guys get the newer ones. But just, oops. Well, there's a space in between, but yeah. Do you use any skin separation frequency to retouch your photos? I actually just used it, so once the video's over you can go back and check on it. But I'm gonna, well actually I'll do it again, because there's this spot right here that I feel like the color is a little too harsh, so I want to soften it up a little bit. So let me just try to like soften it up a little bit more. If you guys want to know the exact one I have, I will type it. TTH 680. It's this one. It's probably old, and you could probably find it for very cheap. I do have like a Houa. It's like the ones where you draw on the screen, but it's like so big, and right now I haven't had time to learn any of that stuff yet because I've been so busy with portraits. So yeah, so you guys can see I just use frequency separation to fix the skin tones underneath. It doesn't really affect the texture, so yeah, so you can kind of see right here, looks a little better, but I might tone it down just a little bit. That looks a little better to me. Stacy, how long do you take to edit one photo? It just depends. Like, let me just bring this. It just depends on the image. So, like for these, they probably wouldn't take me too long, but it's just taking me a little longer because I'm trying to read everybody's comments too. But this image probably would take me 20 to 30 minutes, I would say. I'm trying to make sure her makeup looks okay. I don't like when the glue is showing on the eyelashes, so I always like darken it. Okay. Alright, so I don't use the healing brush anymore, but I use like the patch tool more. So right now I'm using the patch tool. It's in the same area. So the patch tool, you can kind of select this area, and if you want like to basically duplicate the texture up here, it'll kind of blend it together. So like that, but obviously you don't want that. Okay, so I'm going back onto the comments on the posts. I just want to hear your story of who you are and what inspired you to do what you do. Plus, what was one big challenge that you encountered as a photographer, and how did you overcome that, or is still dealing with it? Looking forward to your QA session. That was from Kayua. So I think I will have to kind of expand on this a little bit more, but mm, so what inspired me is I've always just loved art, and that's how I got started. And the challenges was I might get a little emotional if I go into detail, but but so I'll just save that for a different video. I don't want to cry or anything, but I did get kind of emotional when I think back about it. Let me get a drink first. So Kayua, I'm not Kayua, but my known asks, what is your dream destination for a photo shoot, and what theme would you go with? Let's see, themes. Well, I've pretty much gone to most of the destinations that I wanted. Like for some reason, last year was a really weird year. Whenever I just thought of a location that I wanted to go, and I told my friends, for some reason we just end up in that place. So I wanted to go shoot at Joshua Tree or something, or yeah, Joshua Tree or something, and we did that this year. I wanted to go to let's see the poppies, and then we did that last year too. I wanted to shoot with the blossoms, and somehow that happened too. So I've just been very lucky with my clients, well, with their clients and their friends. But yeah. Jonathan Hugh, if you do you ever feel imposter syndrome? Yes, all the time. I was just talking about that with my boyfriend the other day or yesterday. I was like, I feel like I'm a fake sometimes, and then sometimes, like somehow, all this just happened on accident. But I know it's not, because I've been really resilient throughout the years, and yeah, I guess that's it. Oh, thank you, Mandy. And thank you, Shannon and CNA. I try not to get emotional because I know it's hard for people to understand me. Yes, I try to, well, like, I just learned. So for Somali, how do you educate yourself to take better picture? You just have to take it. You just have to do it yourself. For me, I'm very hands-on. So everything I do, hold on, I'm trying to find my water bottle. Oh my goodness. So yeah, everything I look at, oops. Sorry, that was my drink. Okay, so let me just read that question again. How do you educate yourself to take better pictures? So basically, just practice and just do it. That's how I did it. I basically just shot. So I wanted to shoot underwater photos, so I tried that for a time. I wasn't that good at it, but it just takes practice. And I just don't have $4,000 to drop on an underwater housing for my camera, so I'm not picking that up anytime soon. So, but maybe in the future I'll do more underwater photos. Um, okay, so going back to questions. Kelly Lee asks, what do you like about photography? So, what I like about photography is, I think the best thing for me is like the clients, because I really enjoy working with like all these different clients, and you know, I meet people from all sorts of backgrounds and job titles, and it's really interesting getting to talk to them and see how, like, I mean, yeah. So usually when I talk to people during shoots, it's just small questions here and there. I try not to ask anything too personal because I feel that's not like good. I don't know. But yeah, definitely best thing about photography is the people I've met. And most of my friends, especially the ones on my friends list right now, I only have like a couple hundred people on my friends personal friends list, but most of them are photographers or they do some sort of art. So I like to surround myself with like really creative people because I realize like if I want to be kind of like that, then I need to surround myself with positivity and people who think similar. Because I'm sure some of you guys know that like Hmong people are not as accepting of art as a career yet. Oh, see, that's awesome. Yeah, yeah. Just talk to me whenever you guys see me at the events. I'm really shy, so I mean, I have a bee resting face, but usually really nice. I'll talk to you guys. Like I'm not like I don't know, like cold or I won't ignore you guys. But yeah, just talk to me. I'm a normal human being, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think that I'm like a celebrity or anything. I feel like that's very vain. What do you think of people going from Canon mirrorless R5 and R6? What is your hype? What is your hype from the perspective? I used to be really into like all the new stuff that was coming out, but then like I just didn't see a point in somebody dropping all their old gears and to get the new stuff. Like, you know, some Sony users, they sold all their gears just to go with the Canon R5. But, you know, Sony's probably going to come out with something better later, too. And I don't like any brand specifically. So, like, as you guys know, I shoot with the Sony video camera, but I shoot Canon most of the time. And I actually, one of my first cameras was a Nikon, but yeah. Yeah, so I just kind of like use what I have. I don't think too much about it. As long as it works, it works. And that I think that's how people should think about it. You shouldn't go after the newest technology because you're probably going to go into a lot of debt just switching back and forth. It's really more about skills. So I would just tell people to maybe learn Photoshop. That's more important than your gears, honestly. What Jonathan Hugh, what is your studio lighting setup? What speed light do you use? So I don't really use speed lights anymore. I mean, I have the Profoto A1, but I rarely use that just for events. But if you're talking about like strobes, I have the Profoto B1 and the Profoto B10. And I'll use those indoors because I have two of them and I can backlight. Um, but I also have the Flashpoint Explorer 600. Do you recommend Photoshop elements for novice users? I haven't used. I'm not sure if Photoshop Element is a different program, but I'm not really sure. So usually, if it comes with a subscription, and you're doing photography, I would just do the basic one that's like $9.99, or I don't know if they went up on the price, but usually that includes Photoshop and Lightroom. So yeah, that's all you really need if you're doing photography. Thank you, Stacy. Shannon, if you ever want to come visit me for a photo shoot in Hawaii, girl, let me know. Have a free place to stay. Where in Hawaii do you live, Shannon? I was there 2 years ago, but we were in Honolulu. It was so expensive. Oh my gosh, we stayed in like, well, it was a bunch of us, so it wasn't that bad, but rent for the Airbnb was like $3,000 for a week. It was crazy. But to me, I think that's really expensive, probably because I kind of grew up poor, so that's a lot of money. So I always find myself still kind of like stingy in some areas. Like if I'm buying clothes for me, if it's over $20, I think that's too expensive. But that's just like really dumb stuff. But if I'm buying like clothes for models and stuff, uh let's see. It just depends. It depends on the item and it depends on the idea that I have in mind. What do you think the most challenging genre in photography is? Trying to think. I would say documentary. Because those things, it's like it's once in a lifetime. For example, weddings. If you miss a shot, then you miss that shot. They're probably not going to recreate it. So you better get that shot while you can. So yeah, those type of documentary style stuff is kind of hard at times because you already know you only have one chance to get it right. Oh, you're a traveling nurse. That's awesome. Archive, how do you handle photo shoots with non-interesting landscapes? You just have to think outside the box. So we went to this location in Eureka for a photo shoot. I think it was last month. It was supposed to look like a rice field, and I was kind of excited. So we walked all the way to the back, and of course, when we got there, it looked nothing like the photo. It was dead. The grass was yellow. There was a couple yellow flowers, but I was able to still get some photos. So let me see if I can pull those up. Eureka. Oh, give me 1 second. Okay, so like this location, I'll just kind of pull it up bigger. Okay, so we got to the location and it looks like this. So this is for Melissa. We got to the location and it looks like this. You see, like it was a rail. Like for some reason, it looked like it was kind of like different levels, like like a rice paddy, but it wasn't. And so we got there, the grass was all dead, and there was a couple yellow flowers, but thankfully, the flowers were there, and so I shot really low. So I got really low, and so the colors kind of made it look like it was a lot prettier. So here's a couple more that I like. I like these, but I'm probably gonna Photoshop all these, the metal bands, and then I'll Photoshop these out. But yeah, you just kind of have to shoot low sometimes so that you can get more of the details. Because if you shoot really high, then you're just gonna get this, which is not that pretty. I mean, she looks great, but it's like you see there's just so many bare spots there. Let me just exit this out so it doesn't use up too much RAM. But yeah, you just kind of have to train yourself to see things a little differently. And it is challenging at times when you show up to locations and it just looks nothing like what you had imagined. But yeah, you have to work with what you have. So Smithers, I'm using a Wacom tablet. If you want to scroll up, I did list it. Do you like using Photo Mechanic? I'm not sure what that is. What photographers on YouTube do you recommend we should follow? I haven't watched a lot of photographers on YouTube in a while, so I can't really say. I mean, I used to watch Irene, but I haven't really kept up with her stuff lately. I think it's probably because I had a change in style, and I've been wanting to do more documentary style photos or more lifestyle photos, which shows more emotions. So yeah, I haven't really watched them because they do more like styled portraiture, which I do that sometimes, but at this moment, I wanted to try something a little different. Okay. So I kind of messed up the pixels here, but let me just duplicate it with the pixels down here. Hi, Mom. Yeah, it's actually my mom. There's my mom. My mom's watching me, so yeah. Okay, so I try to answer questions. Maya Moa asks, "What are your biggest inspirations?" Um, I just like to. Well, I think I kind of answered this. I like to just follow newer artists because I like to see basically how they're doing and where they're going with it. Because for me, whenever I started out, I was like really inspired, and I feel like I was a lot more creative. So as I got busier, I just stopped doing a lot of creative stuff. But I think the benefit with newer photographers is they get to experiment with their style still. But for me, I've just been so busy with client bookings that I haven't been able to do any of that stuff. But I'm working to get back into doing more creative stuff. So that's why I stopped booking. So it's not because I was fully booked, but I mean, like I just want to do 2 shoots a month, basically. So I don't want to book when we went up to Minnesota, I shot 18 sessions in 1 week. I know that's ridiculous, 18 sessions, and that's like I have to edit average 10 to 20 photos per session. So that was probably I'm really bad at math, but I was like two to 300 photos to edit. Yeah, it's crazy. But I do take my time on all the photos still. I try not to rush edit anything. So that's why sometimes I take a little longer. Um, Bachia Allen. So your best tip for those of us who aren't professional photographers but just want to be able to take decent photos of daily life using a basic camera, nothing too fancy, Sony A6 6500. So what should we try to gauge first? So I think for newer photographers, I think all they really need to learn, or like if you just want to capture nice photos, just learn lighting, learn where the lighting hits, and um, yeah. So I drew black and white portraits for a little bit, and it really helped me with seeing how light hits an object and where the shadow should fall. So I mean, if you really want to look at black and white portraits or start sketching, maybe you'll see how it go, how like all the shadows fall. So like for me, because I drew a little bit growing up, I'm able to kind of like know where the highlights are supposed to be. So it's kind of like makeup to where you want to highlight these spots. Like it's still kind of the same thing. Like you try not to overdo it, but I always kind of overdo it first and then go back and then just tone it down. Can you also use Adobe Photoshop to cull photos? I'm sure there's a method, but I don't really know how, so I just use Lightroom to cull my photos. Or I would actually do it on my camera. So for weddings, especially, since there's like thousands of photos, I take like 3,000 photos sometimes. I'll go on there and I'll rate each image. Like I'll rate the images that I want to keep. That way when I bring it to Lightroom, I just sort it by rated images, and then all the ones that I selected will pop up, and I don't have to sort through all 3,000 images because some of those images are probably just me testing. So let's see. Oh, thank you, Amy. I know Asian Town, long time. I'm surprised some of you remember me. Hi, Rosie. Oh, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to questions on here. Somebody asked, "What's in your camera bag?" I'll do that one later. That way you guys can see. So Betty H asks, "Your floral and your fabric and floral choices, raindrops, body of water usage, and scenic nature backgrounds always seem perfectly placed and balanced in photos, as though they, as though you command them to behave for the perfect shot. How many shots do you take to get the perfect shot? How do you pick the winning shot to keep, or does your clients pick the shots? Do you envision how the shoot will go before shooting, or do you just let the scene speak for your creative senses when you get there?" So that's a very good question, Betty. So what I do is, so I'm assuming you saw the raindrop photo with Sophia. So we didn't plan for it to rain that day, but I knew by checking the weather that we might get some rain. So I had thrown like a clear bag, like a clear Ziploc bag in my car just in case it did rain, which it did. And so I quickly brought out the flash just for the last few images because I was feeling like the photos weren't going too well, but I didn't want to waste our time doing the shoot. So I grabbed the flash and it started to rain really heavy, and I just threw it behind them, and then I gave him the umbrella that I had in the car, which is just a photography white umbrella, like a shoot-through umbrella, and that worked out perfectly. So you just have to train yourself to think fast, basically. And then fabric and floral choices. So fabric, you have to kind of teach yourself to see, like sometimes when I take the photo, like we do the fabric job and stuff, it doesn't look as good as I want, but I will go into Photoshop and use Liquify to kind of give it some more curves and dimensions, and usually that looks a lot better. As for floral choices, usually clients will pick what kind of flowers they want, like if we're doing a boudoir shoot. But if you're talking about the scenes, then we just kind of have to go with the flow. So basically, if I know that the poppies are blooming, then we'll probably just head down there. Or if the lipins at Sherburne is blooming, then I'll go over there because I love flowers. And obviously, I'm sure some of you guys can tell. Do you believe photographers shouldn't be venting about their clients on Facebook because it doesn't look professional? Yes. So I don't think anybody should put anybody on blast. So because that's just very unprofessional on both of you, and to some people you're just both gonna look like idiots. So I would avoid just blasting each other on social media, and maybe try to settle things behind closed doors, basically. Do you plan on taking your photography to the next level and do boudoir photo shoots? That's from Christina Moore. And yes, I already do boudoir photos. I just don't post client photos because they're private. How did you first begin your photography journey? Favorite project and first project? I honestly don't remember the first project I really worked on because there's been so many, and my brain just comes up with too many ideas sometimes whenever I'm sleeping. So I do have like really bad insomnia, so I can't sleep. So most of my friends that are on my friends list, they know that I'm up till like 6 a.m. in the morning editing sometimes. And then let me look for more questions. What inspires you when you do a themed photo shoot? And this question is from Karen. So for themed photo shoots, if I have something in mind, like since Halloween is coming, I'll kind of look at, like, brainstorm a few ideas to see what would be like a good horror concept to do, and then I'll kind of plan it out. But when I'm planning it out, like for the really crazy shoots, I have to find a model, or I usually think of the concept first, and then I would kind of think, okay, what kind of model will look good with this theme? Do I want somebody with a more stronger look or a more softer look? And then once I have the model picked out, I will, once I have the model picked out, then I'll kind of piece things together to kind of see what looks good. So I have to imagine the model a lot. So if you're the model for one of these styled shoots, I have to think about you a lot. So yeah, so I think about how the model is gonna look and how they're gonna pull off the look, because I don't work with professional models all the time. I prefer to, well, I'll just go into this question because I know somebody asked, but let's see, what was the question? Oh, how do you go about selecting your models? I know somebody asked that, so I'll just go ahead and answer that with this. So since I am more of a business, I prefer, like, and if I'm just shooting, if I'm wanting to shoot like one of my dresses, I would prefer to just pick one of my older clients, because as a business, if you are able to make your clients look good, then you can make any, like basically clients are not models. So if you can make them look good, then you can encourage their friends and families to book you. And yeah, whenever I work with models, clients, they're just really excited and they're happy because you already know that they value your work because they've booked you before. So if I felt like maybe that client's photo shoot, like even though they loved it, if I didn't like it that much, then I'll kind of keep them in mind and be like, okay, so if I have a concept in mind, then I'll just do another shoot for this person because I didn't like the photos that I did last time. Does that make sense? But yeah, I prefer to shoot clients over models. But if I'm doing like fantasy themed stuff, then yes, I will go with a model instead. But I haven't really done that in a while, but I'm getting back into it. Oops. Jonathan Hugh, what is your current camera shutter count? I don't know, but it's probably up there because I shoot like crazy. Amenaya, I still have yet to meet you. Well, come meet me. Usually they do like collaborations. I try my best to go, even though I don't always post the photos. Oh, this photo, by the way, that I'm editing, it's from J4 last year. I haven't even edited these because there's so many photographers that show up and they already post their photos, so I'm like, oh, okay, well, they don't need my photos. So I'll edit like the collaboration stuff whenever I have free time, because I know there's already other photographers there and they take great photos too. Let's see. Do you believe photographers? Oh, okay, actually I read that one. Smithers Vang, for photography contracts, what are some important things to include? You can kind of look at like people's oh. Oh, thank you. My boyfriend got me flowers. You can put it over there. Thank you. Where was I? Oh, contracts. You just kind of have to look at your business and what you need to protect yourself. So if you're shooting with younger models, let's see, just make sure that they have a parent with them the whole time, because you don't want to get sued for anything inappropriate. Did I already do that? One second. Okay, let me tone. Okay, I've already toned that. Do you mind clients booking you for a photo shoot and letting you run with a chosen theme? I usually ask people if they have like themes that they want to do, but if they don't, then I just kind of go with the flow and we go with whatever they have, or I can make suggestions. Oh, sorry guys. Jonathan Hugh, have you ever worked with model agencies? So I have worked with models who are from agencies, but I haven't worked with the agency directly. because I just shoot normal people because I feel like that way you get to know your clients more. And unless you have like a specific look and theme that you really want, then I would hire a model. But for me, I prefer to just work with clients and people that already support me, and that usually helps grow your business a lot more than hiring a model. But I mean, it really just depends, honestly. CNA, is it okay to post your pricing on your page, or is it discouraging for you as a photographer for potential customers? So, for me, I think I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm already kind of established, and so I don't really care if people see my prices. I've had people where they would make fake pages and come ask me for my price, but honestly, my prices are up, and anybody can pretty much see them. Um, And I think if the client really likes your work, they'll book you, and they don't really care about pricing. But I keep my prices like for me my prices start, well, right now the lowest package starts at 340, but I mean that might seem like a high price, but for me, since I've been shooting for a very long time, that's actually very low. And I've been told to raise my prices, and I want to, but at the same time, I have a lot of clients that um, don't make a lot of money, and so I feel bad, and I want to give people the experience still, or like, it's just really nice seeing whenever they're really happy with an image or they're really excited, because they value you, that's why they saved up for you. So yeah, so for me, I just post my prices. That's pretty much it. Yes, Penny is really pretty. I haven't really worked with her, just at the collaboration, but I've met her a few other times too. Stacy Moa. Oh, thank you. It's just looking like I'm taking forever because I'm trying to read comments and stuff. Newly, how do you handle clients who are pushy and wants more than what you offer in your package? Um, I refer them to someone else. So usually, I've had people where they want me to film them. They want me to do all these other things that I don't normally do, and so I would just tell them, "Hey, I don't really offer this package, but like, if you're wanting something like that, I would recommend like Carrie, my aunt, because she does it, but I don't think she really books anybody. But yeah, she does videos. I don't really do videos, so I told her that I might not be the best fit for you, because sometimes it's just better to turn away those kind of clients, because what you offer is probably not what they want anyways, if they're asking you so many things that you don't really do. Sky, I missed one of your shot, the one where you wear monk clothes in a forest and gothic theme. Too bad, only one. The only one I've seen is a low resolution. Gothic? I don't remember that one, Sky. I've taken a lot of photos, but for some reason, maybe it's how you describe it, I don't remember it. But let me go through, I'm gonna go through some of the older questions on the post. How do you better yourself with photography? Basically, just practice. I've practiced a lot, and I've shot pretty much everything. Oh, I know Linda asked a question that I was going to answer, so let me look for her question. I'm not seeing. Okay, so Linda Yang, she's also Adnil Photography on Facebook. If you guys want to check her out, she's pretty good. Do you position and pose your subjects? Are there prompts you use to have your subjects act and pose it that way? So I do pose my clients. Like, I'll kind of test the waters with them first. So I usually always start out with formal shots, and then I see how the clients move. So you can kind of, I pick up on a lot of really small things. So if a client is kind of nervous and shy, then I'll pick up on that, and then we probably won't do specific poses, like, you know, having the guy carry her around if I know that, if I can tell that he's a little bit more introverted. But, you know, I'll ask them if I really want it. But later on, like if you get them comfortable enough, then you can pretty much get your clients to pull off any pose. So I do this weird thing where if a prompt works, like I usually tell people, like if I want them to do like a kissing shot, I tell them, can you guys face each other? All right, now come in real close. And I'll tell the girl, I want you to put your hands around his neck and then slide the hand that's closest to you down his chest. And then I'll just tell the guy to kiss her forehead. But you always have to tell them, if they're doing kissing poses, don't do fishy lips, okay? Just bring your lips in real close, or like tilt your heads if you're gonna do kissing shots. So you gotta remind them, don't do kissy lips. I just kind of like started doing that lately, so I always tell clients to not do fish lips, but usually that gets them laughing too, so it's good for the photos, because then you get like a more sincere expression or emotion. So I'm gonna try, I don't know if I want to center this image or not. Actually, no, I think I'm gonna bring it out this way. And then sometimes when a prompt works really well, especially for like kids back then, when I was doing more family stuff, I will go back in the car and I will repeat that phrase to myself, like, hey kids, look over here, or, you know, like something like that. I will just repeat it to myself a couple times whenever I get in the car. That way I remember it for next time, because if it worked well for that client, then maybe it'll work well for some other person. So you just kind of have to like practice. Yeah. But I'm very hands-on with my clients, and I do kind of pretty much help pose them, and I will pose with them. So I'll like, I think it's just easier when they can see you. So I turn my body with them, and then I just tell them, just kind of mimic me. Let's see. What keeps me motivated? So I have a lot of projects right now, and it involves a lot of artists, and so that has motivated me to hurry up and finish my work and start on the new projects, because I feel like the new project that I have in mind will help a lot of younger folks too. So yeah, that's what I'm pursuing right now. I'll find a copy. Probably 15 years ago. Oh my goodness. What do you look for? What do you look to for inspiration? If like a topic is, if I have like a topic that's in my head, then I'll listen to music first. That way I can kind of get more ideas, because as I brainstorm, and then I'll either draw it or write it down. And I haven't drawn in a while, and when I do draw, I draw really bad on purpose so that nobody can make fun of me. So yeah, I have some sketches on my blog, on my website, but they're kind of bad, so you guys probably don't need to check those out. Yeah, I'm guilty of some of those fish lip shots, but right now it's a little better because I'm remembering to tell them not to pucker up. So Linda also asks, how do you edit your photos? Batch edit, presets, actions, hand edit? It's basically everything. So if it's basically event photos, you'll batch edit those in Lightroom. You don't really need to retouch them because it's just basically event photos, and you want to capture the moment, so you don't really need to Photoshop those all that much. I use actions, and I use presets, and I also hand edit. Rose Vang asks, have you ever done a photo shoot that is challenging? What are some of your most memorable memories during your photography journey? So I've done a lot of challenging photo shoots. So I would say all the beach photo shoots are always challenging because you're trying to fight with the waves, and you don't want to get sand in your camera, and you don't want to get that salt water on you. So it's really difficult. Also, I shot in the desert. It's crazy hot, and we shot at Joshua Tree a couple weeks ago or a month ago, and there was like those little thorns, teddy bear bushes or whatever, but those thorns are like porcupine needles, and I stepped on them and they were all in my shoes, and so I spent like an hour picking out all the thorns out of my shoe because I kept stepping on it, and then everybody got scratches and stuff, but we weren't prepared for all those little bushes. But yeah, that was kind of crazy. But one of the most memorable one was on my Vegas trip. This one's kind of funny. So we went to Vegas, like me and a group of friends. We were taking photos, basically boudoir photos, in the hotel, and they wanted to go out and basically just explore the strip at night. So we waited until like 3 a.m. and then we went out to go take photos. And so we all just kind of walked out, and they were wearing kind of, sexy outfits. And then one of my friends, she I was taking photos of everyone, and then next it was her turn, and so she started walking. I was like, okay, this is great. And then she started walking towards me, and she took off her top, and she was like topless. And I was like, oh my god, I was so scared because I thought we were gonna get kicked out. But we weren't doing anything professional, but it's just the fact that she went topless and there was cameras on there, even though there was nobody. So the people at the hotel, they saw us on camera, and so they sent a bunch of security guards. But we weren't really doing anything professional. It was just like taking photos for fun. We didn't even have flashes or anything. But yeah, there was probably like 8 cops, and but we were staying at the hotel, so it was fine. We weren't doing anything professional. We were just kind of taking photos for fun. But yeah, that was kind of crazy. But I probably like do a little story time video on that later. But yeah, that was really fun and also really funny. So let's see. Have you ever done teeth whitening? How to edit to the point where it doesn't look so fake or noticeable? You just have to check. So like if their teeth is whiter than, I don't know, the lightest color, then that's like, if the sky is pretty much white and then your teeth, or actually if the sky is like a little bit more on the gray side and there's not like a pure white, and then your teeth is like the brightest thing on the image, then you've probably gone too far. So I would just kind of like tone it. Like, okay, so I'll do a little bit on hers. Her teeth is fine, but I'll just kind of brighten it up a little bit, just a little here and there. Don't go too crazy because you don't want that to stand out. Did I even do anything? I can't tell. Did a little. But yeah, just kind of like turn down the opacity on it. Yes, I'll save this video. I'll just keep it up so that people that weren't able to tune in can go back on it. How do you do boudoir shoots in public without getting caught by strangers? Let's see. It just depends. So if I'm doing with a client, then I'll ask them first. Like, but usually we don't do boudoir shoots out in like a very public space. But yeah, I'll let the clients know, and if they're okay with it, then we'll do it. But if they're not okay with it, then I'm not going to make them feel embarrassed by putting them on the spot and doing boudoir photos out in public. I will try to find a place that's a little bit more covered and private for us. I'm just gonna make her eyelashes a little long. I feel like the other side's too long and this side's falling down a little bit. So I'm just gonna follow the natural eyelashes that I see. The white part, the white on the teeth also apply to the white part of the eyes, also, right? Yes and no. So you just don't want to make them too light. I think at one point, I remember the photo, I did such a bad job and I lightened the eyes a little too much, and so she looks possessed. I still remember which image it was, but I'm not going to show you guys because it's so awful. Okay, so I'm going to go back onto some of the other questions. Give me 1 second. Feel free to ask questions. I will look like here and there. I don't think I'll get through all the questions on the comments thread actually, but I think a lot of them I have kind of answered questions similar. Chen Yeling asks, do you watch those short clip Asian videos and get inspired by it? The videos where they do crazy things and get super good images? I do actually. I'm planning to kind of do something like that too in the future, but yeah, those videos are really fun because yeah, you get to see their process and how they capture those images. And so for me, I kind of use that just to learn a little bit. So that's how I learned to do the dramatic dress shots. So I don't know if you've seen the one I took of Zhang in the San Fran City Hall, but yeah, I did. I basically kind of used those videos as reference, and then I got better at doing those shots. So now those are probably some of the most requested shots. Like everybody always asks, I really like this shot where you made the dress look like it's really long. Can you do that for me? So yeah, so that's been really popular, I would say. CNA, is a makeup artist a plus so it's less work when retouching? Yes, definitely. Makeup artists do make a big difference because sometimes clients don't know how to do their own makeup, and that's not a bad thing because, you know, I'm not good at doing my own makeup either. It's just normal. Like most people, they don't doll up every day, so it's good to have a makeup artist. Ta-da! You can see the eyelash I drew. That's a little better because see, this side's a lot more, but I feel like these are really thick and these aren't, but we'll see. We'll see if I want to draw them. Plus, CNN, when you work with makeup artists, you can network with them. So I like to network with a lot of my, I like to work with my makeup artists again over time. So Sophia's a makeup artist, and you know, we do like, I'll shoot for her here and there because, you know, we both use it as marketing. Oops, that's too bright. Okay. Uh-oh. I keep exiting out of this. So let me just pull up the questions. I'm trying to look for questions that I haven't answered. Okay, this is a good one. So Kelly Koo, when did you start charging in photography, and how much should a starter, hold on, and how much should a starter to experienced photographer charge versus professional? If it's not a personal question, what is your price range? So I already kind of touched on my price, and I start at $340, and basically if they want more photos, they can always add more photos later, because I let everybody, so for me, I let my clients see all the good images. So I'll filter through and take out all the shots where they're blinking, but I'll let them see most of the good shots, and they'll go through and they'll pick their favorites. That way they get to pick, and then they're comfortable with the photos, because for me, I realized in the past that I was always kind of like anxious, like, oh, did the photo look good? What if they don't know my best angle? But you know, I just let the clients pick, and it's a good thing too, because some clients, they want a lot more photos, and yeah, you can just charge them a little bit more for that too. So any recommendations for gimbal holder for amateur shooting? So Tina, I'm actually not too familiar with all of the gimbals and stuff, so I'm really new to photography, so I might not have any good input, but right now I'm using the Ronin SC, and that works for me because my camera is small. But if you're trying to use a DSLR to film, then that's probably not going to work because that gimbal is only for smaller cameras like the Sony A7. Oh, wait. I think I didn't answer this question from Kelly Koo yet. So she was asking how much should an experienced and a starter photographer charge, and then my price. So I told her I start at 340, but it just depends. I could actually charge a lot more, but since I still like have a lot of clients that I appreciate, and they don't have that much of a budget, I keep my prices a little lower than what I should have. But I started charging whenever I was starting to get a lot of like inquiries. So like whenever people would start asking for bookings. But when I first started, I shot too many free shoots. But I was really passionate at the time, and so I didn't mind shooting so many free things. Even now, I don't mind doing free shoots here and there, but it just depends. My Vang asks, where do you get your inspirations from, and what's your life like outside of photography? Where do you see yourself with photography next 5 to 10 years? So, I think I've already answered the inspiration ones. What's my life outside of photography? So, I basically kind of just centered my whole life around photography. So, everything I buy, it has to be multifunctional. So, if I'm buying a dress, it has to kind of work for multiple people. And even for me, like I'm not that picky with my wardrobe, so I will just shop at the thrift store for my clothes because I don't really mind. And I would rather spend the budget on costumes and other stuff, or just reinvest that back into my photography. I know that's kind of weird, but and I actually have no social life, so yeah. I'm looking for questions again. So Ming Chang asked, how long did it take you to perfect your editing and getting used to the software app? Um, I don't think I have perfected my editing, and I don't think anybody has perfect editing. There's always things that every photographer can work on here and there, me included. And it took me a very long time. I was using Photoshop 7.0 ever since 2004, and I just kind of kept going at it, and then I'm kind of here. I pick up new like tricks and tips, tricks. I don't know, new tricks here and there, and then I'll just kind of add them to my workflow if it works. Uh, Tasani her asks, do you allow big girls for your photo shoot? And yes, I do. Most of my clients, I mean, like my clients aren't size zeros, and since I do mainly work with clients, they're not always like that comfortable in front of the camera. But you just have to like know how to position them. For me, like I don't photograph men a lot. That's just because I'm not that good, and I'm not really interested in like male portraiture. Um, and that's not really my thing. So I focus more on women's portraiture. And so for me, women like curves, and so or majority of women like curves. So if you can make them look like curvier, or if you can make that booty pop a little bit more, then just like yeah, just work on the I can't even talk. Just work on posing and just study posing. So for me, women, like most people, they like to have that hourglass shape whenever they get their photos. So I would kind of tell them to bend their legs so that way it emphasizes the hips. And then yeah, that's usually. But yeah, I do photograph a lot of bigger women. But you know I just noticed that they don't book as much. Like I don't get people that are like size 12 and up. Like they don't book that often. It's not that I don't want to book them, it's just that they don't really contact me. So most of the time when people contact me, I don't even check out their profile, because it doesn't matter how they look. It's my job to kind of make them feel good and look good, I guess. Okay, so I don't know if I'm okay with that. I think this is a little too stretched. I'm gonna bring it back down. Xianing, what do you do other than photography? Do I have a life? I used to go to pet shelters a lot because I like touching the kitties. Does that count? Okay, but yeah, I love animals, and I have a cat myself too. But I love to just be out in nature, and I love just being out in nature, and I just love animals. They're like so cute. But yeah, everything I do, it's basically all related to photography. All the hobbies I pick up, they all have to kind of go back to photography. So yeah, it's that. Oh my god, I've been on live for almost 2 hours and I'm still working on one image. I promise I don't take this long on one image. It's just I'm trying to read everything. I wear glasses, and so about 95 to 99% of the time I don't look fully or deeply into the camera whole view. I've shot some pics that seem good, and on screen is small, so it seems good, but once you upload them to PC, it blur. Um, so Sky, I wear glasses too, actually. I'm actually kind of blind now, and I just started wearing glasses last year. Hi, Linda. Um, but if you see me shoot, I shoot live view mode all the time. I don't really like to look through the camera hole anymore because I have glasses. And I know it takes up a lot of battery, but I don't mind it. I have like 4 extra batteries with me all the time. But the Mark IV is pretty good, and you can just tap to focus on there too if you will really want to. But my trick for getting like sharp images is just focus on the eyes. Usually the focus is always on the eyes. So if the eyes is out of focus, then the image is not that great. But you can use Topaz Sharpen AI to help sharpen if you really missed the shot and you want to save that image. It's actually a pretty good software. It's a little on the slow side, but I suggest you check out Topaz AI Sharpen if you're missing a lot of shots. Let's see. Hi, Linda. I answered your question a while back, but I can answer it again if you want. Just ask. I forgot what it was. And yes, Guy. Yeah, we all have a life, but for me, um, I've just kind of centered my life around photography, and it's always just been like that for the last 5 years. Like every time I travel, even if it's on holiday, I have to look for a model. I want to shoot people in different places. That's how much I really do enjoy working with people, that I can't even go on holiday without not photographing people. Because we went to New York, and since we were in New York, I knew there was like a ballet company, or like, they were really big on ballet there. So I started Googling or Instagramming, or just checking Instagram for models in the area. And so I found a couple model, and Xia Xiao actually responded, and so she's the one that I took the ballet photos of, or ballerina photos of in Central Park. Okay, my Vang, thank you so much. Thank you, Mbao. Shane Zong, when you shoot a group of people, how do you make sure to get everyone in focus? Um, so there is like a focal plane that you have to make everybody stand. So if they're staggering like a zigzag, then the people in the back are gonna be blurred. So you have to make them stand in a straight line, because if they step out of line, then they're gonna be blurry. So if you really want to have that shallow depth of field, then I would suggest lining everybody up and make sure they're all in the same line, like nobody's staggering back and forth, and you're not shooting it diagonal, you're shooting it straight on with everybody on the same focal length or focal plane. And that's how you'll be able to get them all in focus. and keep that shallow depth of field. But other than that, just turn up your aperture. But I know most people, they prefer to have that blurred background. The app I use is this is Photoshop, but it's also listed. Oh, what did I do? But yeah, I did list the Photoshop programs that I used. I'm gonna go back and look at questions. Excuse me. my Chu Ta asked, does creative ideas come first or the model first? So the idea comes first and then the model after, because I need to have an idea of what I'm shooting, and then I'll kind of picture a model in there. So if I can't picture the model in the role, then I won't like use them. I think that's pretty much it for all the questions that I've asked on my page. But let's see, you guys have any more questions? What are the top 5 advices for photographers that you follow? I would say to always keep learning is the number one, because if you already think you're like the top dog, then there's no room for improvement. But if you look at things and try new things all the time, then I think that's better as a photographer, because you'll have more experience. Number 2 is learn about your camera and Photoshop first before you go and start investing hundreds and thousands of dollars into equipment, because you're just going to dig a hole for yourself. And if you're not that passionate about photography, then eventually down the line you're probably going to sell everything and you're going to regret it, because I've seen that happen so many times. So I always tell people to start small, and if that passion is really there, then go for it, pursue it. But if you're just kind of picking it up and you want to make some money, then it might not work for you, because photography is a lot of work. Like for me, it's a lot of work because I'm really picky and I do hand edit every image. So yeah, but if but I know some people, they just take the photos and then they just give it to them. I mean, that's fine too. And I know some photographers who are already really good and they don't need to edit, but for me, I have to hand edit. So yeah. So what was that? I don't know what number I am. Okay, so third advice. If you want to grow a client base, I would suggest you work with the people that booked you, because you know they value you and you know they're looking for photographers to photograph them maybe yearly for family photos, because I have people in Minnesota, they wait until I come back to do like family photos every year. But yeah, work with your clients first. But if you have specific themes that you want to, like fantasy stuff that you want to do, just creative stuff on the side, then yeah, do a model. But me, I always try to sort through and be like, do I have a client that can pull off this, or something along the line like that first. And then what else? I would say that it's okay to compare yourself to other photographers, but don't be too hard on yourself. Like for me, I think when at the beginning I did compare myself to a lot of other photographers, but I stopped doing that, and now I just have a lot of appreciation for other photographers too in the field, because ooh, what happened? Okay, oops. Okay. So yeah, so I can't think of anything else. Hi Raina. I don't have classes yet, but maybe later. I'm really bad at editing even with YouTube videos. I can do one-on-one like retouching in the future, but right now I'm probably not going to offer it yet. Tina Lee, on average, how long does it take you to post process? So usually it's like, it depends on the image. If it's like a fantasy image where I have to redraw the hair and all that stuff, it might take an hour, 2 hours to a lot longer. But if it's just images like this, it'll take me probably like 20 to 30 minutes, but it's just taking me a long time because I'm talking to you guys and I'm trying to go back and look at all the questions that people asked on the thread. So yeah, it wouldn't take me this long to edit this photo, but since I was talking to you guys a lot. And Sky, don't go big just yet, even if you're just doing it for fun and want to have the best equipment, because when that individual wants to sell the equipment later on the road, you'll not get the money back, and at most maybe around 50 to 70% only. Yes, that is definitely true. And I was like that at one point when I was starting. I just wanted all the best equipment because I thought that would make me a better photographer. Now I have like, I have all those equipment, but I still just shoot simple stuff. Like I have all the flashes, but you see I'm still shooting natural light most of the time now. So yeah, the one of the best advice I could give you guys is to just work on posing, and yeah, posing with different body types. So for me, I just forced myself to learn and pose people, and I'll look at different photos and see if that photo looked good. Then I will probably save it, and then I'll use that pose as a reference for in the future. Or you can go on Pinterest and then just do like a posing list of shots that you want to get. And it takes a while to remember all these poses, and it still takes me a while sometimes, and sometimes I have to pull up my Pinterest to reference it. But yeah, pretty much just practice with people, and over time, the more you keep doing it, the more it'll stick to you. How do you start a client base group? What do you put in there? Well, for my groups, I did keep up with the groups for a little bit, but I kind of got a little busy, and right now I'm transitioning more into like content creating. So I don't manage the groups anymore. But if you do have a group, then it's good to have, because you can interact with those clients that value you, and they will probably book again if you build that connection with them. Did I import these twice? Was this self-taught? Yes. Well, yeah, it's self-taught. But I do go on YouTube, and then I learn stuff on there too. So, if that counts. Please start making YouTube videos again. I used to watch your videos. Yeah, I'm gonna start YouTubing again. And I'll take it more seriously this time, but it's gonna be more photography based instead of, back then I was trying to do makeup, but then I realized that makeup wasn't my passion, and that's how because you just can't make it work if it's not really your passion. And for me, even though I liked makeup, and I got free PR stuff every now and then from like different companies, like Pony Syndrome. I was on their PR list for a while too back then, but I just don't do makeup anymore, and it's not something I like, and I just don't even wear makeup nowadays. If you see me, I'm usually barefaced. Where are you located? Do you plan on traveling again soon? I'm located in Fresno at the moment. I do plan on traveling more, but probably not anytime soon. I have one last trip up to Minnesota this year, but that's probably going to be the last trip, aside from like California trips, since I'm in the East Coast. Do you ever use Camera Raw for color correction, or you usually always use Lightroom for those? Camera Raw and Lightroom are very similar. It's just Lightroom is a little bit more advanced, so I prefer to just use Lightroom since you can catalog things on there, and plus I find it's easier to use. Camera Raw is it's still good, like if you just need basic stuff, but if you want presets and stuff like these on here, then I would suggest using Lightroom. But I'm not going to use any actions since or presets since I'm trying to keep this simple for you guys. I remember when I was a kid, I have a bought cheap bought off the shelf. I now have a DSLR camera, and there's still that one picture from the cheap camera that I still love over the view from the DSLR camera. Yes. Well, I have like well, I plan on doing a video, but back then I used to like do a lot of my self portraits on a camcorder. It wasn't even a camera. It was a 3 megapixel camcorder. I will let me see if I can pull it up. Well, actually no, I don't want to search. Oh, but yeah, if you guys remember those photos, yeah, I just took that on a 3 megapixel camera, but it was ooh, mosquito. But I still love those images, and it's been a very long time, but yeah, a lot of people still remember me by those images, and I still love them. Oh, thank you, Christella. Julie Her, who's your favorite YouTuber to help you edit? So, Julie Her, for editing, I go to Piximperfect. I find that he does a very good job at explaining things and making it very simple. And I actually learned how to use frequency separation to him through, no, actually it wasn't through him. It was through SLR Lounge. But I did learn a lot of like tips through Piximperfect. So you should check him out on YouTube. He's a Indian guy with a really strong eyebrow. But he rocks it. Okay. So I'm probably just gonna edit that one image since it's been like 2 hours. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Melissa, have you gone back through and retouch older photos from the past? I plan to, but not yet, since I'm still finishing up on client stuff. And then after that, I will probably go through and maybe edit some photos on live, like the older photos. If you guys want to request any old photos, that yeah, I could probably go back through and edit some. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. If you ever have any questions, you can always ask me in the comments. I try my best to answer, but my inbox is a little on the crazy side, so yeah. Join me on lives. I'll try to go on live more often, and next time I'll do more of a retouching and explaining what I do if you guys want. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys and get to know you guys a little better. And yeah, it was really fun. I was really surprised that there were so many of you on here. I thought that maybe there was just gonna be like 20 people, but yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm so blessed to have so many people that follow me throughout the years. It makes me emotional sometimes thinking about it, but thank you guys. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you, and bye.